Knowing how much water to have on your brush at different stages of a painting is probably one of the most important skills to master if you want to become a confident watercolor artist. In this video, I'm going to show you how I painted this easy watercolor painting, and I'm also going to share some essential tips on how much water to have on your brush when painting wet on wet. I'm using Saunders 300 pounds rough surface watercolor paper for this painting, and I'm also using the back side of this paper so it has a much smoother surface. I'm starting by wetting the whole surface of the paper, and when I wet the top section of the paper and I move on to wetting the bottom part of it, after I'm done wetting the bottom part of it, I go back on the top section because sometimes we wet the top section first, we move on to painting the wetting the bottom part of the paper, and then by the time that we're done, the top section is starting to semi-dry a little bit, so it's important to go over it and make sure that that part is completely thoroughly wet. I'm using only 3 colors for this painting. The first one is raw sienna, and I had the most amount of water on my brush when I was applying this color. First, because I wanted to be watered down and very diluted, and second, because I wanted my paper to have more water so it stays wet for much longer. So by the time that I was done applying the shadow color for the clouds and then moving on to painting the background mountains, I wanted the paper to be still wet. So that's why I had the most amount of water on my brush. And then when I moved on to painting the shadow parts of the clouds using pure indigo, I took the excess water off my brush so that I have better control on my paint and it basically stays where I put it. And then I cleaned my brush and I tried to soften the edges of that dark cloud shape where it meets the lighter area, so there's a smoother transition between those two colors. And now it's time to lift some paint for the light coming from underneath the clouds, and every time I'm making sure that I'm using a clean paper towel so I don't accidentally drag any of that dirty color over top of that light section of the painting. I decided to add a thicker and darker paint at the top section of the painting to add more contrast and have more drama for my sky. But this brush that I'm using is a 1/2 inch flat brush, and it's a synthetic brush, so it doesn't hold a lot of water. If I were using a round brush like a Chinese calligraphy brush that I usually use, I would not be adding more paint at this stage because the paper is semi-dry, and a round brush that has natural hair holds a lot more water in it. So no matter how much you try to take the excess water off of it, still if you add more paint at that stage that the paper is semi-dry, there is a lot of chance of like creating cauliflower and just muddying up the color. I also used the same brush to paint the mountains in the background. I used a slightly more watered down color for the farthest mountain and slightly thicker and with less water on my brush to paint the mountains that are closer to us. I realized that the area that I lifted the paint for the light coming from the bottom part of the clouds, there was like a really harsh line created by the paper towel. So I used a clean damp brush. I really took the excess water off of my brush and I tried to soften that edge by just massaging the paper a little bit. And now it's time to paint the water. So I started by painting a very watered down version of cobalt teal, and then I'm painting the reflection of the warm light coming from the sky using the same raw sienna. And I'm basically painting around the reflection of the sun on the water. So I'm painting the right hand side and the left hand side, and then having my brush leave the paper where I'm done painting that section, so that there is a very smooth transition between the blue and the raw sienna. And I also realized that I used very grayed down and natural looking colors for the most of the painting, for the raw sienna in the sky, indigo for the clouds, and indigo for the mountains. And the saturation of this cobalt teal looked a little bit too harsh for this painting in my opinion. So I added some indigo to that cobalt teal to make the color look that it belongs to this painting. And I also added that darker blue that I mixed indigo into my blue at the bottom part of the water, and the color is getting much faded and watered down as it gets farther away from us towards the distance. I'm also painting some ripples using my rigger brush, and I barely have any water on my brush. At this stage my paper is semi-dry, and if I go back with a lot of water, I'm going to risk creating some really nasty backgrounds. But as long as I don't have too much water on my brush, I can keep adding paint without risking any kind of those cauliflower or background effects. So you don't need to worry about like letting your paper dry in between. As long as the paint that you're using on your brush is thick enough, you won't create any cauliflower effects that you don't want. Okay, so now it's time to paint our focal point. I painted the outer edges of the boat using my the same indigo and the rigger brush, and then I cleaned my brush and I dragged some of that color into the inside of the boat, so the inside of it is much lighter, so it looks like the light is coming through that area, if that makes sense. So that adds a lot of interest and drama to the focal point. Okay, so the painting is basically finished now, but before I go, I just wanted to share another tip with you that I think is very, very important, and that's try to choose one good watercolor paper and just a few good watercolor brushes, and just try to stay with those and just practice using those materials for at least about a year, because each paper requires a different amount of water, each watercolor brush holds a different amount of water. So if you keep changing your materials, it makes it so much harder and more confusing to understand, to really understand how much water you need to have on your brush when you're painting wet on wet or even wet on dry. So that's another thing that I wanted to mention. I really hope you enjoyed watching this tutorial. Don't forget to ask me your questions in the comment section, and I'll see you in the next one. Happy painting!